Okay, we've had some updates and a serious recording issue, so I'm going to have to rewind everything. Clearly, I found a lot of videos before I realised the screen wasn't recording. So, I don't even know where to begin at this point. So the first thing that I found was really big, in my opinion. I searched diary.
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page.
Which was very interesting to me.
It just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them.
Consider that. They literally... That's how they kept up with everything. They wrote it down and memorised it. That is why so many of their statements are word for word. I still haven't looked up the knock, so that'll be new. But I then searched the parents, because it seems like Eve consistently says the parents, because obviously they didn't really raise her.
So, it was Friday evening.
But this is about...
We had an argument. He left.
Simon.
On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. They had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at The Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since. He still wasn't back this morning. It just isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
So he went missing, quotation marks, on the Friday, and then she reported it on the Sunday.
I got pregnant. Both our parents had a big powwow.
It was
We weren't
arranged.
even in the room, and they decided we should get married. No, I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months.
This is clearly Hannah.
We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after. Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. A miscarriage and then my parents. Yes, I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, a dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
But then I was like, they both passed? What happened? Because that seems odd, right? Oh, this is new. What was this?
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else?
All hairs.
Could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
Rapunzel again, common thread. 12 entries for attic, need to remember that. So...
After the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
So we've established that Simon's a bit slow.
The legal stuff was completed very quickly.
We've seen that.
Hannah moved back in.
So, how did I find it? I thought it's a bit odd for both of them to pass at the same time, so I searched poison.
At the time they said it was poison, food poisoning. I mean, I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I didn't. I got a job to contribute, you know. Doug knew someone and I got a job as a dinner lady at the primary school. They said it didn't matter if I could cook or not, just don't poison the kids. So you see, it's always been complicated between me and Simon. It's never just been the two of us. There's always been pressure.
Here we go. So this is when they mention...
I was living in the attic. It was a very hard time. I was depressed, was still pretty sick of the STD.
Oh, that's what I searched.
And I came down one morning and they were dead. They were in bed and both had been sick. They'd thrown up a lot. And I just slept through it. The police said it was the mushrooms they ate. Dad was a mushroom expert. He used to take us picking with him and he taught us how to recognise them. And there's no way he would have picked death caps. But the police believe that's what happened. They never even looked in the attic.
And that gave me Tia Sharp vibes, because if you're into true crime, the police didn't do a good job there either. But my thoughts at this point are... Eve was unable to live her life without Hannah. She wanted Hannah back. The best way to do that is to take out the parents, because then they move back. So I reckon Hannah accidentally took out Simon, her husband, and Eve took care of the parents. That's my thoughts so far. We also found out about Florence. Hold on, what did I search for that? Oh, we're getting a lot of new stuff. So anyway, Florence fell down the stairs, apparently, because I had so many questions there as well. Allegedly, she fell down the stairs, whether that's true or not, who knows at this point. And passed, obviously, and that is why Eve ended up living with Hannah. At the same time, she discovered the book, which she burnt, which explains why she didn't read it again, because I thought that was very unlikely. The reason I typed in 8 was because that was the age she was. Is this when she explains it?
When I was 8,
there we go.
Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point, and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day, and I left. Walked out and across the street.
So we're getting a much clearer picture of these two. She is on the edge. I'm not a massive fan of Eve.
Yes. He left after the argument. It was about 8 o'clock. I think when I drove back it was about 8 or something.
Drove back from where?
And I got back to the house about 3. About 8 years back. It was a present to myself.
Oh, the tattoo.
I shouldn't even be drinking coffee with the baby. It's been hard trying to give it up. I think they say you can have 1 cup.
Change the subject quite quickly. Okay. We also had 9. Because she said...
This was 9, about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry. The kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
Okay, so I've just heard that in a completely different way to the first way I heard it. So the black eye was not from Simon. So is that story true at all?
I didn't. I slept in the car. I left about 9 that night. I wasn't there.
So she's saying after the argument she left. I want more information on the parents, if I'm being honest. I'm trying to stick to certain areas and get the full information rather than just jump all over the place. We found out as well. I typed in conference because she mentioned conference.
Eric was like an uncle to him. They were pretty close. They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
Which was another name. I was like, are you kidding me? So we got Peter, Susan, Eric, Diane, Helen the barmaid, and Eric, as well as Eleanor and Doug. It's getting...
There was a conference, something to do with double glazing. In Oxford?
In Oxford.
Are you sure? What would he be doing in Oxford if there was no conference?
Good question.
I remember calling him. He said it was boring and he spent most of the time at the bar.
Now, she said that she met him, Eve. Eve met Simon when she was performing, so I typed in performing, and it came up with this.
This was 9.
Oh no, it's the same one. So I typed in what performing could she do? So I put in sing, which came up with this really awkward video, and I have to sit through it to show you guys, but it gives me very bad third-party embarrassment.
Really? Okay. Here's the rest. Oh, they laid a body on the dock to dry. Oh, the wind and the rain, till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by on a dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow bow of her long hair, or the wind and the rain. Yes, he made her feel a bow of her long blonde hair, or the dreadful wind and rain. Dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
Yes. Which made me type in guitar.
No. No, Simon didn't play guitar. He wasn't very musical. He liked to listen, but he was tone deaf.
So they clearly found a guitar.
Yes. Yeah, it's my guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No. It's okay.
Buy Spanish guitar, though.
How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street.
Can you see the difference already?
There were two sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain.
Okay, sorry, I can't sit through that again. Anyway, so she performs. So, I'm in Oxford.
There was a conference. Something.
Oh, we did that one. Affair.
An affair. Simon wasn't having an affair.
Very adamant.
You're reaching here. Oh, I don't know why. No, I've never cheated on anyone. I've never taken anything from anyone. Simon is dead. But I have my baby to care for. Why are you trying to make me sad? Why are you so obsessed with sex and affairs? You cheated on your wife. Is this your thing? And what did your wife do? She didn't kill you. You think I killed Simon because he was having an affair? Well, I didn't kill him. I wasn't even there. I was in Glasgow worrying about whether my baby was still growing inside me. I mean, why would I kill Simon? I loved him.
Just quickly. Water. Okay. So, what the heck was she doing in Glasgow?
I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep. Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from a payphone, and then headed back.
When was that? If Simon went missing?
Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift. Steel. It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, it must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then. No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
So they asked if anyone could vouch for her presence.
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly.
Sign that was
I
Eve.
hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving licence on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car. Ask the hospital.
That was exciting. I think that's that one, isn't it?
When I arrived in Glasgow...
Yeah, that's what we just watched, so...
I don't see how it's hard. We've established I was in Glasgow when he was killed. You've spoken with the hospital.
The only time the scratch is mentioned. Oh.
I wasn't in the house all of Friday night.
Oh.
After the argument, after Simon left, I left too. I was upset and I wanted to get away. So I took the car.
She said she went to sleep upstairs.
I left the next day, Saturday.
Nervous.
I slept for a few hours in the car. When I woke up, I came straight back. Simon wasn't returning my calls and I wanted to try and make up. I got back to the house and Simon wasn't there. And I... Is there a bin?
What?